good to be here. Allow me to introduce myself. And I was taught that one of the most important things you could do in your life is learn how to introduce yourself. You see, we're always introducing ourselves wherever we go, not just by saying our name, but the way we walk, the way we act, the way we eat, the way we hold our hair, the way we dress, everything that we're doing, we're introducing ourselves. And as we introduce ourselves, we're sharing with you a bit of our story. Our story. Because our lives are a story. And now I'm part of your story and you're part of my story. So my name is Gene Tagaban. My native name, my Tlingit name is Gayao. I'm of the Duk-Dane Tong clan, the Raven Freshwater Sockeye clan from Hoona, Alaska. I'm the child of a Wishkatan Eagle Shark clan from Makwan in Juneau, Alaska. I'm Cherokee, Tlingit, and Filipino. And my last name, Tagaban, that comes from my Filipino heritage. How you pronounce it? Tagaban. My grandfather comes from Bundock, and my great-grandfather comes from El Locos Norte. My Cherokee side, my mother, she traced her lineage back before the Trail of Tears to Georgia, Tennessee area. And I am of the Wolf clan on my Cherokee side. But that's a little bit of who I am. And again, when we introduce ourselves, we share with you a bit of our spirit, our story, and our history. Because we're more than what we do. And so I'm coming to you right now from the land of the Coast Salish, the Puyallup people in the Pacific Northwest. I'm coming to you from Ruston, Washington, the Tacoma, Washington area. And like I said earlier, I'm originally from Alaska. So I want to share with you a few of my stories that I grew up with. Some of the stories that had meaning in my life. You know, and again, how many of you are you out there that are storytellers? Yeah? Yeah. Because it was my papa. He says, now son, you're a story. I go, what, Papa? What? I'm a story? Yeah, you're a storyteller. What do you mean, Papa, I'm a story? I'm a storyteller. Your life is a story. I'm a storyteller, Papa. My life's a story. What you talking about, Papa? Well, let me tell you, son. You see, it all started, son, before you were... Well, which one am I? Papa, storytellers, my life is story. Papa, which one? Let me tell you. You see, it all started, son, before you. What am I, a storyteller? My life is story, Papa. Now, which one? Which one, Papa? Come on, Papa, tell me. Why? Holy. Shh. Now, son, your story. Your life is a story. Before you were born, your story was there. And then you got born, your story come to life, and it started to breathe, son. One day, when you crawl around, your story crawl. And when you walk, your story walk. And then you run, your story's running, your story's alive, son. One day, you're going to go to school, you're going to graduate. And then from there, you go to middle school, junior high, or whatever they call it now. You graduate from there. And then from there, you'll go to high school, get good education, and graduate. Yeah. And after that, maybe you go to vocational school, learn how to do something, make something. Maybe you go to high school or not high school. You already graduate from there. Maybe you go to college. Yeah, maybe you go to college, son. Your life is a story, son. And remember, you are the story of the stars, the moon, and the sun. You are the stories of the mountains, the trees, the ocean, and the rivers. Oh, that story is your story too, son. Oh, remember, you're a storyteller. You're telling a good story. You live a good story. Your life is a story. Now you tell a good story. And that way you get my age, you got something to talk about. Now go get me a cup of coffee and a cookie. You see, our life is a story. We're all storytellers. And tell a good story. Tell a good story. Yeah. And again, my story is now yours. And you are part of my story. And so, that song I opened up with is called the Sunrise Song. I was taught that growing up to bring in the sun, the sunrise. I was taught that to go sit outside next to the trees and just watch before the sun even rises. And it was my teacher, my elder. I refer to him as my uncle. And he says, now you just watch. You do that for 2 weeks straight and see what you see. And so I sat out there for 2 weeks straight. I sat out there for 2 weeks straight. And it was cold. It was cold. And I was always tired in the mornings. And I would sit there and I would watch as the sun came up. You see everything when it's dark out. It's all black and white. And suddenly when the sun rises up and daylight starts to arise, to show, things start to have and take on a color. Your eyes start to adjust, and your mind. And you start to see the colors of the world. And then you see the sun rays coming up over the mountains, shooting up. And then you see the trees, they start to vibrate and shake as if they're waiting in anticipation for the sun to arrive. And then suddenly as the sun arrives, the trees, they almost explode with energy. And everything wakes up, and then suddenly you hear the birds start singing, and it's here this phenomenon called the dawn chorus, where the birds, when they start singing, and it happens all over the world, as if a song is traveling with the sun all around the world. And wherever you go around the world, you will hear this thing, this phenomenon called the dawn chorus, and that's when all the birds start singing at the rise of the sun in celebration of that. Of the daylight that arises. And so with that, we have a story with that. And the story is about Raven. And if you've ever seen a raven, Raven is the big black bird. You might think of them as a crow, but ravens are much bigger, smarter, wise. And they're the trickster of the Tlingit people where I come from. And so the story is about Raven. How Raven brought light to the world. Neat way on a good way, your way canonique. Raven, he was walking along the beach, and it was the beginning of time, and the world was dark. The stars, the moon and sun, were kept in boxes by a wealthy old man. He lived at the headwaters of the Nass River. Now the fishermen of the night, the spirits of the night, told Raven of these treasures. And so Raven, he went to the house of this old man. He went to the house of Nashak Ankawu. And it was there that Raven, he had a plan. He was going to get the stars, the moon and sun for all the people of the world. So Raven, he saw the old man's beautiful daughter. She was drinking water from the stream. And Raven, he changed his spirit into a tiny hemlock needle. And when that beautiful daughter started to drink her water, Raven floated down and fell in her cup. And when she drank that water, she also swallowed down Raven. And soon she became pregnant and gave birth to Raven in the form of a human child. Now everybody loved this child, everybody except the mother-in-law. You see, it was the mother-in-law. She really knew that this child was the spirit of Raven. Because if you've ever seen Raven's eyes, they go up, down, back, forth, and all around. And his head is always moving, tilting back and forth, looking around, curious, exploring. And this mother-in-law, she knew that that was really Raven, but nobody listened to her. They thought, oh, you're just crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. You're crazy. They told her, oh, go away, go away, go away. Nobody listened to the mother-in-law. And still to this day, you'll find that still nobody listens to the mother-in-law. So Raven was going to get the stars, the moon, and sun for all the people of the world. So Raven, he points up to the corner of the house. The box that contained the stars. And that child with the spirit of Raven began to cry. And that old man goes, no, you can't have that box. But he gave in to him. He took the box down and he placed it in front of his grandson. And he says, you don't open that box. And that little child, nodded his head up and down. Okay, okay. So that child with the spirit of raven, he played on that box. He ate on that box. And he danced on that box. And when nobody was looking, what do you think he did? Yeah, he opened that box, and out of the box flew the stars into the nighttime sky forever. Oh, Kadi, my precious objects are gone forever, yells the old man. But he couldn't be upset. He loved his little grandchild. Now that child, with the spirit of raven, he pointed to the other corner of the house, the box that contained the moon, and it began to cry. And the old man goes, click, no, you can't have that box. But he gave in to him. So the old man took the box down and placed it in front of his grandchild. Now you don't open that box, I'm telling you. And that little child goes, okay, you betcha. Now, that child played on that box, he ate on the box, and he danced on that box. And when nobody was looking, what do you think he did? Yes, he opened the box, and out of the box flew the moon into the nighttime sky forever. Oh, Kadi, yells the old man, my precious objects are gone forever. But still, he couldn't be upset with his grandson, for he loved his grandson so much. Now, Raven is patient. Raven is very patient. Now, the child with the spirit of raven, he pointed to the other corner of the house, to the box that contained the sun, and it began to cry. The old man goes, Clay, no, you can't have that box. That child cried some more. And still the old man goes, Clay, no, you can't have that box. That child cried and cried and cried. He cried so much that he got sick. He got so sick that the people thought that he might die. And it was the beautiful daughter. She picked up her grandchild and said, Father, is there anything worth more than the life of your grandchild? Oh, my dear, you're breaking my heart, he said. Oh. So this time he took the box down and that contained the sun, and he placed it in front of his grandchild. And says, now this time, all you people, I'm talking to all my people. You watch my grandchild. You make sure he doesn't open that box. And all the people, they all looked at him and they shook their heads. Yes, yes, we're listening to you. Now that child with the spirit of raven is very patient. He's patient. So he played on that box. He ate on the box. He slept on that box. And he danced on that box. After a while, some of the people, they got tired, so they went to go take a nap. Some of them got hungry, so they went to go get something to eat. And when nobody was looking, the child with the spirit of raven, he opened that box, and out of the box flew the sun into the nighttime sky forever. Oh, Kadi, as my precious objects are gone forever. Oh, the old man was so upset. He went to the people and says, oh, I thought I asked you to watch my grandchild. What happened? What happened? And all the people could do is say, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But when nobody was looking, that child with the spirit of raven, he took the final box, the last box, the one that is called the box of daylight, and he flew out the smoke hole with it. Oh, Kadi, my precious objects are gone forever, yelled the old man. Now Raven, he was walking along the beach, and he came to the fishermen of the night, the spirits of the night, and they had a fire, and they're cooking food, and Raven is hungry. He's always hungry. So Raven, he goes up to them, and he says, give me your food. Feed me. And those spirits of the night, the fishermen of the night, they knew that that was Raven, and he was going to trick them. And they go, no, oh, go away, go away, go away, oh, go away, go away. This made Raven upset. You treat me that way, says Raven. I freed the stars, the moon, and sun. I brought the most precious gift of all the world in here for everyone. Now, feed me. Give me your food. And still, those people said, no, go away. Go away. Oh, go away. I'll go. You're going to trick us. Oh, you're no good. You're no good, they told him. So this made Raven upset. So Raven took that box of daylight and he opened it just a crack. And daylight showed itself and went back inside the box. Ah, you see, I freed the stars, the moon, the sun. I have the most precious gift of all the world in here for everyone. Now feed me. And still the people said, no, go away. Oh, get out of here. Go away. And Raven says, feed me. And they started throwing things at him, trying to chase him away. Now this made Raven upset. So he opened that box. And out of the box, flew the daylight. Freed the daylight into the world as we know it. And this frightened those spirits of those spirits of the night. Some of them hid in the sky, some hid in the forest, some of them hid in the waters. The ones who hid in the forest became all the animals of the world. The ones who hid in the sky became all the birds of the world. The ones who hid in the waters became all the creatures of the oceans and the waters and the lakes and the rivers. And then there are the ones who stood up straight and tall. And they saw their world clearly for the first time. And they marveled at the beauty of it. And this is how Raven brought daylight to the world. My grandma would always tell me that story. And when she told me this story, she'd go, now, grandson, you always remember, always, that you have a special gift and it lives right there in your heart. Sometimes you need to open your heart and let your light shine. You are the light of the world, son. You are the light of the world. And don't let anyone tell you any different. Yeah. And again, that story to me also talks about our relationship. Our relationship to all the birds, the animals in the forest, and those in the waters. Yes, Raven. And you see, we have ravens up in Alaska. And the ravens are huge. You got to watch out for them. There's been times I've been on the beach. And there'll be people in the water or be next to the lake or to the ocean. And there's this one time a raven. He flew down, circled around. He was eyeing somebody's backpack. And this raven flew down, landed right next to the backpack. And their partner flew down, landed right next to the backpack. You see, ravens, they mate for life. So one started to unzip the backpack while the other watched. And as that one unzipped the backpack, started to pull out items, books, pens, pencils, to the lunch. And when they got to the lunch, they unzipped the Ziploc bag and started to eat the sandwich. Now, I should have stopped them. I should have went over there, shoot them, go away. But I was having too much fun watching them. Yeah. You see, it was this one time I was on top of the mountain. One morning I left maybe about 4:30 in the morning. I was in Southeast Alaska. And I was going to go hunting for deer. And so I walked up along this river part of the ways, and then I just started going up the mountain. I was going up to the snow line. Now the snow line was quite a ways up that mountain. And I made it up to the snow line. And I sat down at this nice open field, this beautiful open field, snow all over. The air was fresh. The sky was blue. It was a beautiful, beautiful morning. And I was up there by myself. And then suddenly, as I'm just about to open up my lunch, and just to have a bite to eat, a raven comes flying in, lands on the tree above me, and starts to talk to me. And I'm like, what you want, brother? He goes, oh, hey, brother. That looks good. What are you eating down there? I said, oh, man, I'm just having peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I got a chocolate chip cookie here. Got some carrots here, and I got some other snacks that I got in here. I might have another sandwich. Oh, you want a bite? He goes, oh, you betcha, brother. You betcha, brother. I'll take a bite of that. Holy. And then I threw a little bit of my sandwich off to the side over there. And he flew down, landed right next to me, took the sandwich. Oh, holy. That tastes real good. Is that wheat bread? Oh, yeah, that's wheat bread. Holy. Oh, hey, I'll see you later. I'll be back, though. I'll be back. I said, okay, brother. Okay, brother. I'll see you around. And that raven flew up into the sky and flew away. And I was thinking to myself, oh, wow, what a gift, what an opportunity to hang out with the ravens, and talk to my relative. And then suddenly, about 5 minutes later, he shows up. And then another one shows up. And then another one. And then another one. And then another one. Oh, he says, hey, brother, thanks for sharing that lunch with me. I brought my family over here. I got my brothers, my sisters, my aunties, and my uncles. Holy. Oh, we want to share that wonderful sandwich that you shared with me. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I don't have enough for you guys, all you. But the thing is, with my people, we share. It's about that sharing, that generosity. So I took a couple bites, and then I broke pieces off, and I just started to throw it out there. I would toss it up into the air. And as I tossed it up into the air, one raven would come by out of midair and catch it. And I tossed another piece up in the air, and another raven would come by in midair and catch it. And so I'm having this time of my life, hanging out, eating my lunch, sharing my cookies with these two ravens, drinking my juice, and I had a thermos of hot coffee there. And the ravens are calling, talking to me, hey, brother, hey, that's really good, that's really good. And then they tell me, hey, you know what, you came up here to go deer hunting, did you? I said, yes, I did. And then he goes, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but there's no deer around here. We take a look at the area, but with all this racket that we're making out here, we scared all the deers away. And I said, that's okay, brother. It was worth climbing this mountain just to come up here and have lunch with you. So after a while, I packed everything up. They flew off. And then I started heading down the mountain. And as I headed down the mountain, you see days in Alaska, during the wintertime, they're short. The sun comes up late and goes down early. And so as I'm making my way down the mountain, the sun started to come down. And if you know what it's like in the forest and in the woods, it gets dark in the forest quick, fast. Faster than if you're out in the open or downtown or wherever you're at. And so as I'm heading down that mountain, I'm thinking to myself, I better get down there fast or else I'm going to get caught up here during the nighttime. As I'm going down the mountain, I'm getting careless. And suddenly, a branch, a hemlock branch, snaps right across my face, right across my eyes, and hit just right. And I was unexpected. It surprised me. And when you get surprised, what happens? You open your eyes a little bit. And as I opened my eyes, the branch went across my eyes and took out both my contacts up there in the woods on the mountain. And I looked around. I couldn't believe what happened. It took out both of my contacts. Now I got to tell you this. During the nighttime, especially without my glasses or my contacts, I'm blind. I can't see in the dark. And as the sun started to go down, I started to panic. I gotta get down. I gotta get off this mountain. I started stumbling over branches, stumbling over logs, going down beneath them. And I was just starting to just get disoriented as I was getting into this panic. And then I just sat. Okay, stop. Stop. Calm yourself. Calm yourself. So I sat there and I calmed myself. By then it was already dark. I could hear the river that I needed to follow further down, off to my right. Okay, I need to take my time and make it off this mountain. As I was about to start to make my way, suddenly I heard this sound. The sound of the raven. It was as if my brother was going, this way, come, come, come. Follow my voice, and we'll lead you out of here. And so I started to go down. I started to follow the voice of the raven. It was as if it was just right in front of me, just out of my reach. And I followed him down, made it to the river, made it along the river, and then I made it down to the road to where my car was parked. And right there sitting on my car was Raven. Hey, brother, looked like you needed a little bit of help there. Holy. Well, since you gave us and shared that lunch with us, we thought we'd just help you out a little bit. That was a good sandwich. What was that? Wheat bread, peanut butter, jelly, and bananas? Oh, lad, that was really good. And I said, thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Konachish, konachish. Thank you for taking me and showing my way off this mountain. Yeah. So, Raven, I just wanted to share that little story with you. Because you never know. You never know who might be there to help you. You never know who might be there to show you the light. They might even be the light for you, the light of the world. You never know. And so with that, yeah. There once was a village in the old days. Now this village was very strong. There were many people. They were singing and dancing. They knew their culture, their traditions, and their stories. They would jump in the canoes and hunt and fish. They built many large houses and totem poles. This village was very strong, very strong, very strong. But deep in the darkest part of the forest, there came a giant of a man. He was a cannibal giant, and he came into the village and fed on the flesh and blood of the people. He took the women and children first, and all the men did everything they could to stop him, but he was bigger, stronger, and faster, and he was intelligent. And two, they fell prey to this cannibal. And all that was left of this village, 3 brothers. 3 brothers were all that were left. And they knew they must stop this cannibal, or else he might go to the other villages nearby, or maybe the rest of the world, and feed on them too. They had to stop him. But they still knew they had to feed themselves and live. So it was the other oldest brother. He says, I will go out. I'll hunt for us. I'll get something for us. You, my brothers, you stay here. And so he went out to hunt. But days passed, and he never showed up. And those 2 brothers knew that he must have fallen prey to this cannibal as well. So the other brothers, they kept themselves alert and armed. They were awake, and they were waiting. They sat back to back, and they kept themselves awake. But again, days passed and nights, and soon they fell asleep. And when the youngest brother awoke, he was alone. And he knew that the cannibal got his brother. And he knew that he must face this cannibal by himself, alone. So he went to the house of his uncles. And it was at his uncle's house he grabbed bows and arrows. And it was these bows and arrows that his uncles taught him about the wisdom and the knowledge and the strength that he had within. And he took a medicine pouch, and it had sacred medicine in it. Ta'ach, we call it, Devil's Club. It would open a doorway for the spirits to listen to him and give him the words, the knowledge that he needed to defeat this giant. And then he went to the forest and he went to sleep. And in his sleep, he dreamt a dream. He dreamt that he heard the everlasting voice of Hashiginya. On the And Hashiginya told him, there's nothing that I can give you to defeat this giant. That the power lies in being who you are and believing in who you are. And that is how you will defeat the giant. But if you defeat this giant, you must treat his body with respect, or else he'll come back to life again. Go Ayakwan, have courage, be brave, my son. So the young boy, when he awoke, he woke up, and he wiped his eyes, adjusted to the light, and he found himself in a bundle. He was in a bag. He didn't even know where he was. So he grabbed his knife from his boot and he cut the bottom of the bag. And he found that he was hanging from the rafters, that the cannibal had taken him and shoved him in a bag and hung them up there on the rafters. And when he fell to the ground, he looked around and he adjusted his eyes and he smelled an awful smell. The most awful smell he's ever experienced in his life. And as his eyes adjusted there in the corner of this house, there was a small fire. And that cannibal was sitting on a pile of bones, feeding on the flesh of his people. At first he was afraid, but then he knew what he must do. He knew what he must do. He stood up and he pointed at that cannibal and said, "Never again, no more, will you feed on the flesh and blood of my people. Never again, no more." And that cannibal giant stood up. He was big, tall. He stretched and went, it's dinner time. And he ran after that young boy. But the young boy ran out of the house. He knew where he must go. He remembered the cliffs that he played on as a small boy, with the rocks below and the ocean. Those branches. Yes, those branches. I can get to the cliff. If I could just make it to those branches, I could jump and I could hang on. I know he can't reach me there. So a young boy, he ran through the forest, and it was dark. He was stumbling, and he heard the cannibal smashing all the woods and the branches behind him. And he even heard his heartbeat as if he was right behind him. He could almost feel his breath, a warm breath behind him. He made it to the cliff. He made it to that cliff, and he jumped. And he grabbed a branch overhanging that cliff. And below, he looked way below. The ocean was pounding against that cliff. As he hung there as tight as he could. And that cannibal giant made it to the edge. Looked at him. Ah, I got you now. I got you now. I've got you now. And he reached out there. Just out of his reach. So he reached up and grabbed a branch. And just as he was about to grab the young boy, the branch he grabbed was old and weak, and it broke, and that cannibal giant fell down, down, down onto the rocks at the bottom of that cliff. Now, treat the body of your enemy with respect, or he'll come back to life again. He'll come back to life again. So that young man who put the body of that cannibal upon a fire in the same way he would if it was somebody that he loved. And he sat there thinking about how the cannibal hurt him. How the cannibal took away his friends and his family. And his heart filled with rage and anger and grief. And he went up to that cannibal that was on a fire, and he grabbed a big club and said, "You have not felt enough pain. You have not suffered enough." And he took that club and he started to hit the body of the cannibal. Each time he struck that body of the cannibal, sparks flew up into the sky. Remember that dream. Treat the body of your enemy with respect, or he'll come back to life again. Each one of those sparks flew up and came back to life in the form of a mosquito. And to this day, the cannibal still lives and feeds on the flesh and the blood of the people. But it was my uncle. He says, "Nah, son, the cannibal still lives in the form of anger, violence, grief, rage. But you must believe in who you are and be who you are. And that's where the power lies, to defeat the cannibal." Now, go give me a cup of coffee, he said. Hey, yo, hey, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. So I wanted to tell you that story because that story has great meaning for me. You see, because I too, I face my cannibal giants. Sometimes I get angry. Yeah, sometimes I get lonely. Or sometimes I get, I just get mad at other people and whatever it is. But I gotta keep myself calm and believe in who I am and be who I am and respect and honor myself and who I am. And that is where the power lies into defeating this cannibal. Because it's out there waiting for us. It's out there. Yeah. And so again, thank you so much for listening and being out there. And I'm just sharing with you a few of my stories that I grew up with. My experiences as I grew up. And so, all the animals gathered together to have a meeting. Now there was bear, mountain lion, eagle, raven, grandmother mouse was there. All the animals were there. And it was Mountain Lion who's in charge of this meeting. So Mountain Lion stepped forward and went, "Oh, my brothers and sisters, it's so good that you are here. We have many important things to talk about." They were just about to start that meeting, and then they heard Rabbit outside singing as loud as he could. Nobody could hear a thing. So Mountain Lion went out there and says, "Hey, Rabbit, shh, we're trying to have a meeting in there." But Rabbit kept singing away. So Mountain Lion went, took Rabbit's arm, and he put that in his back pocket. "You can have that back later when we're done. Now, let's get on with this meeting." And Rabbit was outside with only one arm. They were just about to start the meeting again. And then they heard Rabbit outside, drumming away with only one arm. Nobody could hear a thing. This time it was Brother Bear. Brother Bear goes, "Hey, Rabbit, shh, we're trying to have a meeting in there." But Rabbit kept singing away. Nobody could hear a thing. So Bear went, took Rabbit's other arm and put that into his back pocket. "You can have that back later when we're done. Now, let's get on with this meeting." And Rabbit was outside with no arms. They were just about to start that meeting again. And then they heard Rabbit outside, stomping away with his feet. Nobody could hear a thing. But this time it was Coyote. Coyote goes out there and says, "Hey, Rabbit, shh, come on, brother, we're trying to have a meeting in there." But Rabbit kept singing away. So Coyote went, took Rabbit's leg and put that into his back pocket. "You can have that back later when we're done." Maybe. And Rabbit was outside with no arms and only one leg. They were just about to start that meeting again. And then they heard Rabbit drumming away, pounding on that drum with his head. Nobody could hear a thing. This time it was Eagle. Eagle rises up out of his chair, circles over Rabbit, and was go, "Rabbit, it's Eagle, man, it's Eagle." But Rabbit was too busy singing away. And so Eagle comes down, picks up Rabbit, and was go, "No, no, Rabbit." And then Eagle goes, took Rabbit's head. I know. And all the people went, "Oh, man, that hurt." But they still heard. Because Rabbit, his song was coming from his heart. And whenever you sing from your heart, whenever you follow your heart, nobody can take that away from you. So they gave Rabbit his head back. They gave Rabbit his two arms back. They had to wrestle Coyote to get his leg back. And they let Rabbit sing his song whenever he wanted to. Sing with me. Yeah, that's a good song. And I like that song, listening to that song. Because that song, you see, that song is medicine. That song is medicine. Music is medicine. That's why it's so important for us to know our music, because sometimes, you know what? We get mad, we get angry. Just like that cannibal. But when you know who you are, you be who you are, that's where the power lies. Because in our lives, sometimes, we'll be wanting to do our own thing, and somebody will be saying, no, you can't do it like that. Like mountain lion. And then somebody might push you around. Yeah. And then like bear. And watch out for those tricksters. They'll be pulling your leg, and it influences your mind. Yeah. So be like rabbit. Be who you are. Sing your song. What's in your heart? What's in your heart? You see, because we are like this feather. And this is an eagle feather. And this eagle feather comes from a bald eagle. And do you think this eagle is a young one or an old one? It's actually a young one, because you can tell by the spots on it. Yeah. And do you know which ones are bigger? Are the older ones bigger or the younger ones bigger? It's the younger ones. Do you know which one's bigger, the males or the females? The female eagles are bigger than the males. And do you know what part of this wing feather, what part of the wing did it come from? If I was going to show you with my hand here, was it the tip or all the way down to the side? It actually comes to the side, probably about right there. Yeah, on the right side of the eagle. And something I'm going to tell you right now, when you see that eagle or that hawk doing a circle in the sky, it's opening up a door for your prayers or your wishes or your dreams, or maybe you have a heavy heart, to let that go. To let that go up to that opening when that eagle or that hawk or that bird does a circle in the sky. Yeah, when it does that circle in the sky. And that might be your opportunity, because you might be the only one who's seeing that happening right now. Because there's many lessons from the eagle feather. The eagle is a sacred being amongst Native people. And we use the feather because sometimes life could be hard. Sometimes it could be like, and things really make you mad, like the deforestation, or the abuse of animals, or hurt, name calling, bullying, racism. Yeah, all those things. People not being nice to each other. And you feel tore up. How many of you felt tore up? Yeah. But I tell you what, you learn about who you are, tell stories, get an education, and learn about what is it that's important to you. What is it in the world that's important to you? And you start learning about that. That's important to you. To me, is my culture, my traditions. I have a love for animals, and so I like to protect the animals and the environments and the forest and the trees. And whatever I could do to educate people about that. But mostly, I teach people about taking care of themselves, about loving themselves, You see, because if we start doing these things and thinking about these things, things will come back together. Because, you see, we will remember, just like this feather remembers that it's a feather, and it'll go back together. Yeah. But sometimes there's certain parts that just don't come back together. Those are our scars. And we all have those scars. And those build character. Build character. So be like that rabbit. And be like this feather. And what is it that really, what's your passion? Find that. And teach it and learn it. And those of you who think there's nothing for you, hang in there. There it is. Be that rabbit. Be that rabbit. Be that rabbit. Yeah. So, I hope you enjoy those stories. I got another one I'll close with. But I just want to say it's just been a pleasure to be able to share with you. I sure wish I could share with you in person. But during this time, it's just, we got to be safe. We got to be safe and care for one another. And I look forward to the day where I can sit with a group of people, a group of kids in a classroom, out in an open field, in an auditorium, and share stories with you in person. Yeah. And one day that will come. One day that will come. And I know some of you have been looking at my shirt, and to you it probably looks backwards. But what it says is Grandma Up. And I wear this shirt because it says Grandma Up because, our grandmas are so important to us. Our grandmas are so important to us. Yeah. My grandma. I grew up, hanging out with her and fishing with her, picking berries with her. My grandma. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's what it says, because grandmas are tough. You want to be tough, man, you got to grandma up. So, let me see here. I'm going to end with this story. Let me see here. Coyote. Oh no, this one came to my mind. Got to watch out for those tricksters, because those tricksters will they'll trick each other too. So it had been snowing for 2 whole weeks. Snow everywhere. The mountains were covered with snow. The forest, the trees, the water was covered with ice and snow. The rivers, everything was covered with snow. Oh, and Coyote, the storm was over, and so Coyote came out of his den, and he looked around, but he was so hungry because he hasn't been eating anything for 2 weeks. He was so hungry, and there was no food anywhere, and Coyote was going, oh, I'm so hungry. Oh, no food anywhere. Oh, and he kept looking around. He even climbed to the tallest tree, looking around as far as he could, and then suddenly, off in the distance, he saw something. It was dark. It was black. It was moving. Oh, maybe it's food. Oh, and so Coyote started to run as fast as he could through the snow. Meanwhile, off in the distance, where Coyote was looking, it was Brother Raven. Brother Raven, he came out of his house as well. And the storm was over. Oh, and it was a beautiful sunny day. Oh, he yawned and stretched his arms, and he flew up and landed on the top of a telephone pole. And he took one leg and he tucked it up underneath himself. And he spread his arms out, his wings out. He was going to catch some rays, relax a little bit, get warmed up. And then suddenly, he saw something coming, running towards him. What the heck is that? And then he looked, he says, oh, you know who that is? That's Coyote. That's Coyote running over here. Oh, I bet you he's hungry, because Coyote's always hungry. Just as Coyote was coming up, Raven, he reached in his back pocket and pulled out a big, long chicken chicken bone. And right as Coyote came up, Raven went, ah. And Coyote saw that, just that bare chicken bone, and he goes, Brother Raven, I see you're eating something. I see you're eating something. What is it? What is it? What is it? I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten in 2 weeks. What is that? What is that? What is that? Oh, Coyote. I too am hungry. I haven't eaten anything in 2 whole weeks. I know. Me too. What do you eat? I see you're eating something. What are you eating? What are you eating? What are you eating? Oh, Coyote, I was so hungry. I haven't had anything to eat in 2 weeks that I ate my leg. You did what? Yells Coyote. You ate your leg. And sure enough, Coyote looks up there, and Raven was only sitting on one leg. Oh no, that's awful. That's terrible. That's horrible. You ate your leg. Yeah. But come here, Coyote. Let me tell you something. It was good. It was good. Oh, that's awful. That's terrible. That's horrible. You ate your leg. Oh, no. Did it hurt? Oh, yeah, you bet you it hurt. It hurt. Oh, you ate your leg. But Raven, Brother Raven. Yes, Coyote? How'd you get your leg off? Well, Raven reached in his back pocket, and he says, I used my arrowhead. You used your arrowhead? Yeah. Oh, didn't it hurt? Oh, yeah, it hurt, but it was good. And Coyote waited for a moment, and he thought, hey, Brother Raven, can I use your arrowhead? I don't know, Coyote. Yeah, you betcha. And he handed it over. And Coyote took that arrowhead and stuck it up to his leg, looked up at Raven, and Raven said, it was good. And Coyote put that arrowhead in his leg, and his leg popped off. And Raven stood up, popped out his leg from underneath him, jumped off the telephone pole, circled over Coyote once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th time, he went down there, picked up Coyote's leg and flew away. Said, see you later, Coyote. And Coyote was waiting there in the snow all alone, waiting for Brother Fox to come along. But then that's another story. So, my friends, remember, enjoy the simple things like the sunrise and the sunset. Learn how to introduce yourself, not only to other people, but introduce yourself to the mountains, the trees, the wind, the rivers, the animals. Learn about who you are, where you come from, your heritage. It's really important. Your ancestors dreamt you into existence. Yeah. Remember, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Open up your heart. Let your light shine. Because some days, those cannibals, those monsters will come around. But believe in who you are and be who you are. And follow your heart. Follow your heart. And watch out for those tricksters out there. They're all over. Don't be a trickster yourself. Be kind. Be respectful. Be honorable. So with that, I thank you. Tell a good story. So until next time, thank you. Good night, Chish. Good night, Chish. Good night, Chish.